time together in this beautiful little slice of heaven, Bueno Cafe. Thank you so much to everybody in the room. Please continue to grant us grace and wisdom and eloquence as we spread your message, Lord, and grow your kingdom, because we want to lead with love and gratitude and so much joy. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Oh, that was beautiful. I think that's what I love about you, how so strong you are in your faith and how you just stand in it fearlessly. I think that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Here, talk close. Here's the mic. You could scoot it closer to you or this way, whichever way you want.
Okay, did we start already?
Yeah, we're good. As normal as possible,
Okay,
like
cool,
as if we were
cool.
just having a conversation. I'm gonna put my phone here, and yeah, we can start. Everyone's levels are looking good.
Oh yeah, test.
Who's mic two? Arisa's mic two.
Me, 1, 2,
I know,
3.
I gotta like
1,
get
2,
into
3.
it.
Perfect.
These are so dope. I love this whole setup,
Yeah,
dude.
I was thinking about getting new arms because I feel like the arms
These
drive me nuts. Like I like the stand mejor,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we'll see as we get there.
I
play
feel the
with
same
it.
way when it's like in somebody's face, so you have to
You're
like
like,
kind of
to
Oh,
make
yeah,
that
I'm
eye
like-
contact. There we go.
No,
Yeah.
well, Crystiana, thank you for joining the podcast. You are a staple in the community of Sacramento and I consider you a staple in, no,
gem.
seriously, because you've networked, you bring women together, a lot of like empowering things for women. You just had a Galentine's Day event that I couldn't go to, I missed, but I heard great things about it. And you're the founder of Healing Hustlers podcast. So let's start with there.
Yeah.
Fuck it. What? Oh, and I'm still learning to not cuss. But
No,
I
you're good. I cuss all the time. I'm the same way. I'm like,
It's my thing.
can I cuss on your
No,
podcast?
go,
Because I'm
girl.
definitely, I can't hold it.
Of
No,
course
yeah.
you can cuss. So what was the thought process behind Healing Hustlers?
I'm like, if we really want to know, it goes way, way back. I think the biggest thing for me, though, was during 2020. Well, prior to, I've always been a hustler.
Yeah.
Let's just start there. I've always been a hustler. And I think a lot of it was me just working to keep myself busy to avoid stuff that I was dealing with growing up. But it was just like, I'm going to go after whatever it is and put my heart in that. But it drove me to burnout.
Yeah.
Because I was just going and not dealing with what I needed to.
Yeah.
And finally having to slow down during the pandemic, like forced to, really made me do that like deep work. Yeah. And I discovered the benefits of healing for myself. And I'm like, with anything that I love, I have to share it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it started, where I would just like share what was working for me. And I understood that other women were experiencing, if not the same thing, something similar. And it made an impact in their lives because it was just like a resource, just a little connection. And you take what works for you and run with that.
Yeah. And I think that was a silver lining during the pandemic. I feel like a lot of people were kind of forced to go inward
Reflecting. Yeah, a lot of reflecting, deep convos with friends, things like that.
or completely
Super fun.
detach and disassociate.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it could have gone either way, but it's interesting because I find that a lot of people have that issue that you were having, like working so hard almost like as an avoidance. You know what I mean? To what it is that you have to face and what it is that you have to
Attachment
heal.
styles.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
attachment
avoidant
styles.
attachment styles.
Was it a trip to first like acknowledge that, whoa, this is how I process things and deal with things? Like when you first became aware that that's what you were doing and that led to burnout?
I guess it kind of was, but not really. I feel like I've always been kind of receptive to wanting to grow as a person.
Yeah.
So it was almost like an aha moment, right? It wasn't as so much like, oh, fuck. It was more like, oh, you know?
Fuck.
Yeah, fuck. Because then I'm like, now that's where the root of it is. We can
Yeah.
start healing that, you
Yeah.
know? So it's a process for sure. Like, it's not easy. I just had a whole session with creating my art for the show that's coming up this Saturday. I'm so excited. But that was a healing thing in and of itself. My pieces are a tribute to the healing hustling women in my life.
Yeah.
My two grandmothers and my mother.
Yeah.
And I got to go through their albums from like when they were kids and see their journey of life. And I'm incorporating that, but realizing that they went through some shit, dude. And like they came out the strongest women I have the pleasure of knowing, you know, and growing with. So it was like, but it hurts to do it. Like you really have to rip the Band-Aid off because you know that shit's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
But once you get past it, it's like, there's the answers.
There's liberation. Arisa and I have talked on other podcasts too about like just the hard work that you've seen your family do and overcome, and the drive it's given you and given you and given me. And I think being able to be 3 strong women in our community that really embody that strength in different aspects, you know, and come back and give back in the ways that we can is so profound. And it takes a level of vulnerability. Did you ever struggle with that vulnerability?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the biggest part, and first of all, I have to give you guys your flowers, too. Like, all of those things that you said about me, I'm like, stop, you too, dude, because I'm literally, like, blessed that I get to be on one of my favorite podcasts, bro, like, right now. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
But it was, like, so physically, the burnout was visual because I lost my hair. Like, alopecia, like, it's crazy. This whole side was bald. So I think that if that hadn't happened, I would have kept grinding myself into the ground. But God was like, slow down, sis.
That's what I was just going to say. What were you going to say?
Yeah. No, I know you mentioned your grandparents, and I was just curious, like, you growing through life, talking about all the struggles you had, what's something that from your, like, your grandma or your mom, like, you mentioned, like, how they inspire you. What's, like, a message from them that you think, like, you carry it in every day, or something that you carry in what you do?
Oh, gosh. That's such a good question.
Yeah.
Because I have so many, like, from each of them. So my grandma Frances, who, God rest her soul, passed in 2022. It's like, dude, fresh. I'm like,
Oh my God, condolences.
Thank you. But she, like, her story, dude, I'm like, she was an orphan as a teenager, became a mother as a teenager in Chicago, where it was like super cold, 2 babies like under 2, and having to figure it out without her family. Like, as a kid herself.
Like, losing your parents.
Yeah.
And now it's like you have to grow up. That's, like, you can't even comprehend
and
that.
grow up for other lives. Like, as a mother, you know, like, so her resiliency and hard work.
And she's your mom's mom?
My dad's
Your
mom.
dad's mom. Okay.
So the faith that she's instilled in me, like, she was the one who would always invite me to go to church to honor her saints and stuff. So, like, and just praying to the Virgen, literally, like, this is what I wear all the time. She gave this to me for my quinceañera. I literally have a picture of her putting it on me as a part of the art. So that was my grandma Frances, and family, the importance of our connections and bloodline, like, that legacy has been beautiful. My grandma Elodia, she also was placed in an orphanage in Mexico when she was little. She had a hard life too, but she did and still does everything with a smile. Like, the positivity and resilience of that woman. Like, recently she actually fell and broke all kinds of bones, but now I've gone to visit her recently, and she bounced back, and she gets so excited to, like, show me that she can walk or dance or, like, I'm like, dude, like, that's just her light, her light. And then my mom, dude, like, dude, I literally, like, I bring tissues because I'm such a chiona pero chingona, okay? But my mom, like, her painting was the hardest one for me, because with my grandmas, I got to hear their stories. With my mom, I lived it with her, you know, like I got to witness the hardships. And she had me when she was 17 too. So like, dude, like babies raising babies and then growing together and seeing her journey, like, not to put all her stuff on blast, but like she's closing chapters and her light is shining so bright. She was the one who also introduced me to Jesus. So I say she gave me life twice.
Yeah.
Bro, like,
That's beautiful.
you know, like, I'm just so grateful for all of them.
Yeah.
I love that question.
And then also, like, when you were talking about how your grandma's always smiling, and like I feel like you're the same way.
Aww.
Like I always see you smiling. I'm very expressionate, and I'm like, you could tell if I'm like tired or if I'm like okay.
No,
like if I'm working here, I'm like I'll try to be like, oh hi, but you're always like in a good mood, and I think that's something you can see in your character that's passed on.
Let me tell you, resting bitch face is a thing though, and I have it. So it just happens to be that I like. I think I like the energy that I'm around when I'm with you. Okay, so that's probably why.
That's good. That's good. Because I feel like with me, I'm always a thinker, and I don't pay attention
to your face.
I look
you
know?
I'm the same way.
I want to kind of touch back on what you said about our moms, because I think something about being like daughters and seeing the resilience that our mothers had to endure and take to give us a better life. Yeah. And just everything that they've come from. I don't know about you guys, but for me, from a child's perspective, I used to always think about like, when I was younger, what my mom could have done better with this and where she didn't meet my needs here and where she failed with this. And as I grow, I realize that everything that my mother couldn't break, in my healing in ways, was lighting that light in her. Ooh. And she was then able to get the strength and the armor to break it. And it's like a testament to her sacrifices for us, you know? Yeah. Like that we could be strong for them in ways that they couldn't be for themselves. Yeah. And just being able to give that back to our mothers. And I hope that if you guys watch this, you guys see that like
your mama
we are the strong women that we are because of
the women
what they've gone through and what they faced and the way that they paved the road for us. Yeah. The seeds that they planted in us. Yeah. You know?
I always try to remember, like, I heard this somewhere. They said, like, you're like girls like say, like, I'm just a girl, like, oh, like I'm still learning, I'm still growing. Your mom is still. Yeah. Like, put yourself in her position. Like, everything she's experienced is for her first time. So I'm the oldest girl. I'm her firstborn. So her with me and everything, I'm like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you? You're a mom. Like, you should know this. But then, like, as I get older, I'm like, wait, that's her first time taking care of a human life. Like, shit, she did great. I'm like, she did such a good job.
I'm the oldest too.
So am I.
We all the oldest.
See? That's what
Seriously.
Yeah. Dude, it's a different thing.
It is. You know what really set it in stone for me is having kids.
Yeah.
When I had my kids and I look at my kids now, obviously the things that I didn't know when my eldest was born compared to now my youngest, who's 2, you know, I have 4. I'm like, wow. In this 10 years that I've had my kids, I've learned so much from my first to my last that I'm like, I wish I would have known all of this when my first daughter was born, because I would have been the mother that I am now with them, you know? And it's very important for me to tell the kids, like, your mom is human. Yeah. You know, and I know you see me like a superhero and I'm supposed to know it all, but the reality is I don't know it all. Yeah. And I'm going to fail you in some aspects, but you have a mom that tries. Yeah. And I'm going to keep trying, and I'm always going to try.
But that's something so great with having little kids, because they're going to look at you like you're the greatest person ever. And I think as we get older, we see more humane, and then you understand your mother more. But when you're little, it's like so innocent. You're like, your mom can't do anything wrong almost. Yeah. So I think that's so cute that you mentioned your kids.
Sometimes I get nervous. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, what are the ways in which I'm going to fail my kids? What are they going to throw in my face when I'm older and wish I would have done different? And I think that's why it's so important to for me to teach the kids how to express their emotions. Yeah. And to tell me how they feel, and to be like, stand in their convictions. You know, and have a voice, because I think part of my struggle was having to take a harder, longer route to find my voice and just assert myself in a way that was like, it's not wrong to assert myself and just be like strong in who I am and secure in that, you know?
I love that. That's actually why I'm excited about this book club that we're starting. It's called Worthy. Dude, the way that this was set up, so I'm really into like personal development. Tony Robbins is my fucking guy.
Yeah.
They put on, it was a 12-hour conference with multiple speakers promoting this book, Worthy. And just like you, right? Like, you know the real ones. Like, I know who I'm a fan of because they keep it 100, and that's who these people are. And promoting a book that helps you overcome self-doubt, giving yourself grace, because that's what we're really talking about, is giving our parents grace and ourselves grace for the process. But it kind of stems from how we look at ourselves and the worth that we hold within us. And the cool thing is that we have our faith, and we know that we come from this divine light, God, you know, and he created us to be who we were meant to be for a reason, for a purpose. And it is to be that light. And when you understand that, there's a certain confidence that comes with it in every aspect of your life. As a parent, as a daughter, as a sister, as a businesswoman, like whatever the case may be, it's like inevitable, you know, and an honor and something to be so grateful for. But we still are human, so we fuck up, and that's where the grace comes in.
Do you feel like in your walk and in your faith, has there ever been any times, like, obviously being in the position that you are, you have your podcast, you do all this networking, there's so many different belief systems out there, and I don't know, maybe it's just on social media, but the climate of society and just the overall talk around faith and God, do you ever feel like intimidated speaking of him in your conviction, or like sharing that these are your beliefs?
It's so funny because no. And it's funny because I feel like I'm getting that question more often.
Yeah.
Like during Heart to Heart, I ask questions about faith because it can be whatever you believe in. I say God with my chest because that's what I believe. You know, but that can be whatever it is to anybody else. The universe, like you said on your stories today, everybody has a name for it, but we all feel it. Yeah. I just say what I say because that's what I believe and I know to be true, you know, because we are our walking testimonies. Yeah. Like, and nothing can steer me any other way because I know what I know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, I know.
And it's just like genuine. Like, why am I gonna pretend to be someone I'm not?
Yeah.
Like, this is part of like how I grew up, and I guess it shows like more your character. Like, you're very genuine. Like,
yeah,
you're not gonna,
I don't think I can be any other way. Like, I feel like it's crazy that I feel like my body is now rejecting like fake stuff. Like, I used to do the eyelashes. No, the glue doesn't work. Yes. I did
the
nails.
DIY.
Didn't work. Like, I'm like, it's just like no more of the toxic bullshit, no more of the fake stuff. Just
that is such a trip because literally, and I think a lot of people experience this on their walk with God in different ways, like whatever is unique to them and you know whatever it is in their life they have to change. But kid you not, when I cut back on alcohol, every kind of alcohol started affecting me in like some weird ass way.
Dude.
And even like now, there's been times where we have got a few drinks together, and like I'm just like at the end of it, I'm like, okay, it was cool, I caught a buzz, but then I'm like,
yeah,
like it's not enticing the way it used to be anymore, and not even because I meant it to be that way, but just because as I'm on this like new walk, it feels that way.
Yeah,
and it's so hard to explain to people, like, for some reason, and this is coming from me who used to be crazy. Same. Sorry, Arturo. Same. I did all kinds of drugs. Like, I was a party animal, you know? So it's such a affirmation in my faith.
You know what? I because of my hair falling out, I was led to find natural solutions because I didn't want to do like steroids to grow my hair back. I didn't want to do like any of the things. And thank God I was already introduced to Monat, which is the shampoo, hair care, skincare, makeup girl. That's all I'm wearing. All of it because it's natural. And I saw the results. Now, that also opened the door for me to do my research on everything else that I was consuming, down to my cleaning products, down to everything, because same thing with that. Like, it's generational. We can say that a certain disease runs in the family, but does the disease run in your family, or do the habits run in your family? Or do the products you're using run in your family? Because I know my grandma used Fabuloso, so I use Fabuloso. You know, like... And not knowing what chemicals are actually in it, and we're all breathing it and consuming it without realizing. And once I removed all of that, I felt closer to, I always say, Father God and Mother Nature. because that's really what we came from. Like, we are literally creations of the earth. So the closer that we can be to that natural state, the closer I feel like we are to the creator. And that's why those messages come so bro, we talked about how it feels like he's texting us, or our angels are, or like all the things. There's this certain like level of just when your heart is that open, you're able to receive it.
My mom and I were just talking about that today. We were talking about it's such a trip when you constantly live in a state of fog. You don't realize you're in a state of fog until you have clarity. And then when you're on the other side and you have the clarity, you're like, wow, I normalized this lifestyle or living or thought process or perspective for so long because that was all that I knew, you know? And like getting back to the illnesses in our family, my mom always says, like, in our culture, a lot of people, and she is a nurse for those who don't know, and so she worked like in clinics. She's labor and delivery now, but she worked in clinics before for like impoverished neighborhoods and mostly like Latinos and you know, minorities. And she said one of the most common like occurrences is that a lot of older generation Mexicans would come in and then they would get diagnosed with diabetes and they're like so far gone, right? And then they'd be like, well, you know,
tortilla.
Yeah, if I wouldn't have came to the doctors, I would have been still fine, you know, like, or que tuvieron un susto. They got scared and all of a sudden that gave them diabetes. And she was like, it's so interesting how many of us put it on other things like that when a lot of it is our lifestyle.
Yeah. But then also it's like so historical if you go all the way back, and like what was the food given to the people of color? It's all the scraps. Like, it's historical. It's like, it's patriarchy. It's colonialism. Like, it's so much. But also I think with like health and stuff, I think a lot of that doesn't get insight because we live in a Western culture where it's a lot of Western medicine, like you're talking steroids instead of natural remedies. So that Hispanics and Latinos do a lot of natural remedies that probably isn't like, that's not scientific, like it's not Western medicine. Like my mom, whenever we'd get sick, we go to doctors, they'll be like, oh, here's a prescription, oh, here's some medicine. Mom's like, let me do my research. And so my mom got into like acupuncture, which is Eastern, like it's it helps a lot of essential oils if we get pains, which is a little bit more, I guess you would say, on the nature side, like what you're talking about. Yeah, homeopathic. And then even like Vicks, like when your grandpa's Vicks, even that's like kind of homeopathic. Like if you go to a doctor, they're not going to tell you put Vicks on your chest. Like that's something that's very deep in our roots and just using what we have, using our resources. And I think that's something that's
that's beautiful.
I think it's one of the most beautiful things of our culture, actually, because I've studied a lot on people that have gotten diagnosed with like cancer, and they go to Mexico and they do these cleanses and herbal cleanses.
Clay,
or like
those hot little cave rooms.
Soursop leaves and things like that. This is all, and I mean, even biblically, you know, it says that like the Lord said, the plants are for you, you know?
That's, I don't know if I told you, I feel like I use the oil, the Rejuvenate oil as anointing oil. Yeah. Because it's all natural. Yeah. And even my mouthwash has like myrrh and the cinnamon bark. And I'm like, oh, I know that word from the Bible, right? I'm like, okay, so I'm gargling. Like if I'm gargling with this, I'm praying. Even as the simplest things that I do, I'm like, conversations are happening.
Dude, that is so funny because there's a biblical oil and I'm probably going to botch the name. Frankincense? Yeah. Okay, so I put that on my face. Oh. Because it's like the number one skincare oil for your face, clearing your pores, all this thing, right?
It was good apple cider vinegar
and your skin is bomb, dude.
Ew, for real?
Yes.
My cyst is wreaking havoc right
now. No, okay. Well, I got you on the skincare too. Whatever you need. I'm telling you, Monat changed my life.
Thank you. Literally, yours looks clear and then pores look small.
Stop, because that's me too. I'm like, no, I literally got the pore refining thing that they just dropped, and I'm like, I need that.
Yeah.
But
I love that about our culture. Yeah. We're considered, there's a term for people that believe the homeopath, crunchy moms.
Oh, is that
it's a new thing? It's a new thing.
I don't know.
Being a crunchy mom where you like know all the ingredients and you're so holistic and homeopathic. Funny. But I find that even with that, like even our belief in that, like you mentioned earlier, like evidence-based science and this and that, so many people will discredit something that's actually so cultural to us. Like this is natural for us,
and it's actually the opposite. Like I'm not gonna get into like the politics and shit, but it really stemmed from who is it? Rockefeller. I don't remember who started it, but the medical system. And he's like,
yeah.
use the
Rockefeller,
petroleum. Yes. See,
Yeah.
I know, you know.
I
Okay.
know.
But anyways, that's why I love the European standards, because they really ban all of the shit that
Yeah.
we
Oh,
accept
yeah.
and
Yeah,
push.
even in foods.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, I
Oh,
went
yeah.
down, like
Dude.
all the like Sweden, everything that Sweden bans that we allow here in our food, and I'm just like, well, no wonder so many people don't have clarity. You know, it's so hard to get organic, and then it's so expensive.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, and then it's just it's
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your healing led you down this path of just evaluating and analyzing every aspect of your life down to everything we just talked about here?
Yeah, 100%. But you know what's funny is we talked about like not going to the doctor too, and that's another form of avoidance that I've had. I've almost died twice, dude. Like I have so
She's like, I almost died.
Dude.
Oh, I almost
so
died.
my appendix burst when I was
That's
like
painful.
10 or something, but I'm like either I have a hella high pain tolerance or I just don't say anything until like
Yeah.
it's too late. And
Yeah,
so
I'm the same way.
I was in San
I've
Jose.
done that.
I was in San Jose and my grandpa had to drive me back to Sac because I was in so much pain. And then they took me home and I was like, I'm fine. Like, I don't need to go to the hospital until I think I like passed out. And they were like, you need to go to the hospital. And they got me to the hospital. They said it was burst, but there wasn't a pediatric surgeon. So they had to transfer me to another hospital where they had a pediatric surgeon. I was passed out, don't remember anything, but when I was like being rolled out of the ambulance, I hit a bump and that hurt so bad that I came out of being passed out, like woke up and then passed back out again. And then they took me into the hallway and my mom overheard somebody talking about they didn't know who I was. And so she heard my name or something. And my mom also works in the medical field. So she put her badge on because she didn't feel like they were taking her seriously. They thought that she was just like a mom who was looking for her daughter and was panicked. So she put on her badge and was like, where is Crystiana?
Mama Bear came out.
Yeah, because they lost me in the hallway. They didn't know where I was.
With a exploded appendix.
Yes.
That
So
could cause sepsis.
poison. I was literally like, and when they finally got me into surgery, they said that it dried up. Like the poison was fucking dry in there, dude. Like
That is crazy.
I don't know how.
You literally dodged. Do you know, like, this is a thing that, like, kids
Crazy.
die
Yeah.
from appendix bursting. And I don't know, some have, like, lighter pain than others, but that is a miracle.
I know.
That is a trip.
I know, dude. And then the second time was more recently. Same situation, but with my gallbladder. And I thought, bitch, I thought it was heartburn for hella long. I'm over here taking hella Tums.
Tums.
I
Baking
was like,
soda.
bro, I traveled for my first trip to Monations,
Yeah.
which is like a trip to St. Louis, which there's a whole other story about that with my grandma and Saints, because this was right after she passed too. So it was my first trip, and I was like, I'm not missing it. I thought I had COVID. I thought it was heartburn, but I was like, I'm good to go. Like, I'm okay. So I traveled out of the state, did everything I did there, came back, and I couldn't sleep. Like, the pain was so bad that I literally was praying to Jesus and my grandma. Bro, it was the funniest thing. I felt like Jesus,
Almost died.
you know,
So funny. You're like, it's the funniest thing. I'm like, what?
so I'm laying in bed.
What?
We're over here hella serious. Like, what do you mean?
It's so funny. I couldn't sleep. I was in so much
You guys
pain.
check this out. So I prayed to Jesus. I just want to be able to sleep. Just let me rest. If I have to go to the hospital after I wake up, I will. And I swear, I envisioned him like fucking Mr. Miyagi. You know how he like sweeps the leg and then Mr. Miyagi goes like this? Yes. And then I swear that's what I felt. I felt like he did that, and then I stretched my back really quick, and then I was like able to sleep. And when I woke up with so much peace, knowing I need to call my brother because my mom was out of town. I told you that my grandma fell.
Yeah.
My mom went to San Jose and was taking care of her for a really long time.
Yeah.
So she went from my grandma's hospital bed to my hospital bed because my brother took me to the hospital. I was in the hospital, in the hallway again, because they were so overpacked that there was like curtains of like little stations for the patients.
Oh my gosh.
I was good. This one was much more chill. Nothing like burst. There was it was a few days of me not being able to fucking eat anything, which sucked because I just had like broth and water and Jello, and they kept pushing it back because there were more like serious like emergency surgeries that had to happen. So it would just like.
So what was it with your gallbladder?
Stones. But one was like in a tube or something, so they had to do like 2 different surgeries. Bro, I'm telling you, I don't know. I tried to do my best, but God's like, you don't need this one, you don't need that one.
You know, there's like a research study behind the fact that women, I don't want to misquote it, but pretty much it's that like women tend to pass away at like a higher rate to things that are preventable because we don't take our bodies seriously.
Oh, yeah. Or other doctors don't take you know.
Whoa.
They're real quick to like underdiagnose or like not take serious what we're going in there for. That's why I always tell people, I'm not a medical doctor, but I always say like, you got to take your kid to the emergency room. You are your biggest advocate. You are your kid's advocate.
Wow.
Go up in there, put in dubs on everything to make sure that you are getting the quality of care needed, you know. And even for us, I know as moms, sometimes that's hard, or even just being busy with life and just our personality sometimes
I
like
can't remember the last time I went to.
Yeah, if I can figure it out at home and stick through the pain, like
same.
fuck it.
I try everything that I can before I ask for help.
Yeah,
and I think that that's something that our culture does too.
Yeah, we're very resilient.
Yeah,
and I think this goes hand in hand with healing overall, because when you heal, you become in tune with what your body needs, and learning to listen to your body in that spiritual sense of, okay, my body's telling me I need a rest. I know rest for me is the biggest one that is so hard for me to do.
Same.
I feel like I feel like I constantly have to do something. Like, it's almost like I get validation from like working myself way too much. And then not doing anything productive makes me feel like I'm just being like a lazy bastard. Dude. And why am I not being productive, you know? But I think that might be like being the oldest sister and just having to like, you know, figure it out for everybody, you know, and being everyone's backbone, that to have time for myself and rest. What do you mean? I could be getting like ahead of my day tomorrow with this hour that I'm chilling, you know?
Yeah. See, and that's exactly how I am too. And this is one of the topics that we covered during Heart to Heart too, is that we don't give ourselves those like little wellness windows, which I love. That's my favorite term now. I have 5 questions that I go off of every single day. Shout out to Man on a Mission. This dude, if you don't follow him already, do you follow him?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You
dude,
put me on
gems all day long. But the 5 questions are just check in with yourself every single day. Did I get enough rest? Am I drinking enough water? I stay with this. Did I eat something nutritional? Have I changed my breath? So like, did you work out or do breath work or whatever it is that you need?
Oh, breath work.
And are you organized, and did you pray? Those ones are together, because it's that connection, and that's so important too, is to be able to like get your thoughts in order.
And then also, like, you're talking about you're not resting. That's not good for you.
Yeah.
Because I struggled with that, but I've learned to, even if it's just in your car, like you said, breath work, but just something, because your nervous system, you don't realize, like, your nervous system is so old and it's so used to running a certain way. And so if you're constantly putting it under stress and panic mode, that's going to affect like your overall body health. So just as something so simple as just petting your dog tells, like, because you have, I think there's like your automatic, I'm forgetting, like somatic nervous system, but one of them doesn't respond to language. So it could hear us talking, but it could be German. Like, your nervous system doesn't understand. It's like through physical touch, through listening, through breath work that calms it down.
Yeah.
So like, there's so many parts of your nervous system. It's so complicated, but like just doing little things like that, like, can really help your health
and lower them cortisol levels.
Oh yeah.
That fuck with your gut microbe and
Dude.
literally cause a lot of physical ailments, like the stress that you was under made your hair fall out.
And the gut health is like crazy important. People don't understand that that's actually our first brain, because that's what connects us to all of those happy chemicals, right? So it's whatever you're consuming, that's what your body is receiving first. And when it's that fake shit, when it's that toxic shit, then it's not, there's a block.
Yeah.
There's a, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
I'm just dying because I'm hearing you say this, and in my head, you're saying that, right? And in my head, I was like, yeah, it's the people who are asses that just stop eating ass. Dude. Why does my brain... Why
I
does
was
my
thinking
brain
Cheetos.
go to this?
I was like,
I know,
more
but I love
Cheetos.
how
I was
Cheetos,
like,
dude.
For real.
I was like,
See,
she
that's
means
our problem.
Cheetos.
It's like balance.
Oh, yeah,
But
balance. Ew.
but it is because my friend asked me today. He's like, I don't know why he thought I was vegetarian.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I had some breakfast tacos, like with the cheese, with the ham, with all the
Yeah.
things, because that's what I love. And I just try to balance myself out by giving myself good. I love the Jugos here. I'm telling
Yeah,
you,
the
shout out to
juice.
Bueno Cafe, like the carrot and orange juice, my favorite. And it's just something that you have to be conscious of and make those decisions every single day, just because, like, enjoy yourself, but also take care of yourself.
Yeah, balance, I think, is the key to life. So I want to pivot from that a little bit. You are very creative in your artwork and also bringing women together. Where do you get these ideas from in terms of, like, I don't even know, what is the word for them? Groups, seminars?
This God, everything,
Like you host a lot of events of women that come together, and you just have like all these new ideas that you're constantly presenting. And like, where does that come from?
it really just comes from my own experiences. I think that being introduced to a community that sees the world kind of the same way, like we vibe on certain levels and we pour into each other. I kind of just wanted a space to provide for people to feel seen and heard and accepted, because that's something that I wanted too. Like, I see these women doing their thing and killing it and holding these spaces, but I wanted to create one for me. Like, it's almost like everybody has their lane, right? And you just have to completely be who you are, who God created you to be, and then the alignment just naturally happens. Yeah. So it's not even that I like planned, like, oh, I'm gonna get a bunch of girls together. It just,
you're stepping into your purpose.
yeah,
and living in it.
and then everybody just gravitated. Bro, the heart-to-heart thing, I wasn't expecting it to be as big as it was. Like it was our very first event. I just wanted to do something where we could all just get together, bring the podcast to life, share these women's experiences, because everybody has their own journey and so much value to share. Like, that's why we have these conversations. And it was so beautiful because we had planned for 25. And then it just kept growing and literally doubled. Like, by the time that it was time for us to rent the chairs and like set up the chairs, I was like putting them all out. And then I like took a second and I was like, this is kind of a lot of chairs. I was expecting it to just be a little thing. And it's not about the number. It's about each individual who made the choice on a Wednesday freaking night to come through and pour into themselves and support the women around them. Like, we had an affirmation also during the podcast. We always do our gratitude, wins, and affirmations. So we put up a wall and had little hearts where people could write theirs down. Yeah. And I need to do like a live to share them all, because I haven't even had the opportunity to read them all yet. But just the fact that we get to share that with one another is really what it's about, Yeah,
well, that's so awesome. I think that it's so beautiful to see that you are so aware of what your purpose is, and you walk in that awareness on a day-to-day basis, but you bring that unity here to Sacramento. Because I give it to you, dude. Your ability to connect with people and just chat and network, it's admirable, because that's something I struggle with. It's hard for me to put myself out there, and that's my own whole different other thing, But to see women like you that do it and do it so confidently gives me confidence that, like, I'm learning from you. In that sense. And I really appreciate that you do that, because we need that. I need, just like people turn to us for certain things that gives them empowerment, being able to see someone who does that and lives that and really walks her walk and talks her talk, for me is like cool.
Damn, dude. Thank you.
Sometimes I feel like a lone wolf in certain aspects, and vulnerability. So to see you stepping into that, I really admire.
Thank you,
Yeah,
dude.
you're welcome.
But I see the same in you. I feel like it's just the energy that you bring.
Yeah.
There's an undeniable light in each one of us, and we all have our own version of it. And that's the beauty of it, is you just be authentically you, and there shouldn't ever be any comparison. Definitely inspiration where you find it and pull from, but never comparison, because ultimately it's all about collaboration and community.
Yeah.
And that's where the real growth can happen, because we're sharing all the best parts of us. So,
Well, do you have any closing questions?
No.
ooh, right on time.
Oh, it's the kids' cleanup alarm.
Oh, I love that.
You're
Dude,
like texting
I live
them.
by my alarm.
Skip,
Do you do that too?
It's 7
Okay.
o'clock. Kids pick up their areas of the house. That's like the
Dude.
only way we can have structure, because
That's good.
then they're fighting about, well, I picked up this and da, da, da.
Yeah.
No, everyone gets their set area of the house, and when you hear that alarm go off, everyone's straight to your
love
area, and they do it.
that.
That's
It
so
works
good.
so well.
Okay, I need to implement that.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that it worked this good.
Wow.
I'm a little bit nervous about when my youngest grows up, because he's the
It's always the
What?
babies.
stubborn one.
It's
Oh,
always
really?
the babies.
yeah, dude, he is
See,
stubborn.
we know as
It's
the
always the
oldest.
babies.
Always.
Dude, that's funny. Actually, my brother is like the dopest, though. He's the baby of the family, and man, I admire him and
Yeah.
you know what he's doing, and
Yeah.
he's
Well,
a
very
good soul.
different.
Yeah.
Crystiana, do you have any life lesson or wisdom that you've learned from your life that you would like to give back to people before we wrap up?
Oh my gosh. I feel like everything that I could think of, I kind of already said, but I think just really, like we talked about, giving yourself grace in every aspect, leading with love in every aspect, because I've been on that end where it can be so easy to be confrontational, but ultimately that just leads to more negativity. So if you can find the good in things, the silver linings, and shine your bright light even through the darkness, because shit gets dark, you know, like be that light, and then you don't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah, amen.
And yeah, that comes from God. So
Yeah.
stay connected and protected, baby.
There we go. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining. I
Thank you
really
for
appreciate
having
having
me.
you on, and I hope to attend one of your events.
Dude, come to all
the
of the
future.
events.
You have an art
Oh,
coming up. Yeah. When is that? You want to
So
give information
this
on that?
Saturday, so I don't know how quick you guys do, but this Saturday is going to be the Women Make the City art show, curated by Mari and Yuli at the gallery by We Are Sacramento. That's the fam. And it's going to be amongst the most amazing women artists. There's going to be amazing affirmations and like little nuggets for everybody to like take a look at. And those are important too, like talking to
Affirmation. Yeah.
yourself
I
with
love
love
affirmations.
and grace and kindness. That's really where it's at.
Yeah,
So
there's
yeah.
power in the tongue.
Yeah, and
There
there's
really is.
beautiful, beautiful stories that are going to be shared through the gifts of art.
Nice.
Really dope.
Okay, so we look forward to that. I'll probably end up editing and then posting that as a clip
Yeah.
before, just in case the whole podcast
Dude,
doesn't
shout
drop.
out
Yeah.
to you. Shout out to you and the whole
Yeah.
squad, because this is
You
amazing.
do, yeah.
Like
Thanks.
all of it, and that's hard ass work,
It
dude.
is.
You wear
It
all the
is.
hats.
I wear all the hats, and let me tell you, the learning curve was big, but we're getting there. It's becoming
No, but
easier.
you've come
the
so
more.
far. Like I'm like, she has kids and does this. I was like,
This is what I'm saying.
I was like, wow.
That's why you're a
Thanks.
healing hustler, bro.
Thank
like
you.
in every way.
You know what? Real quick, I give a lot of that to my husband.
Yo.
I think that his leadership in our family and just his hustle as a man
Yeah.
and providing, and he makes a lot of it possible for me to stay at home and raise our kids and pursue my passion. And he's right here behind the scenes helping with everything, you know? So it's like he, in many ways, is that support system and pillar that makes it possible for me to have the fucking energy to,
Yeah.
to pursue this,
See?
because it does take a lot of energy and
Yeah.
a time. But he sees how passionate I am about it, and he believes in me. And there's been times where I'm like, what if I can't? What if I, it's taking me longer? And he just always is speaking just affirmations to me and words of encouragement, and always tells me to not give up on myself. So shout out my babe.
Love, love
Thank
that,
you.
dude.
Well, you guys, that wraps it up. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you.
I could totally see us doing this again.
Dude, anytime.
and we could pick like a
It's
different topic and
blast.
like,
Yeah.
but
I'm so down.
thank you for showcasing us a little bit more about yourself and just your podcast. Tune in, Healing Hustlers. You have a lot of great guests on. Obviously, she's very deep. She talks about deep things, which I think is needed. You know, I think people need to feel the depth and authenticity.
Yeah.
I think that's what connects a lot of us. So I appreciate you being on. Of course, always Adisat. Thanks for being here. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye-bye.
Bye.